So let's go through some basic principles of social engineering. First off, the attacker wants to know what kind of information they use to put together the attack. So consider what you're sharing in social media, they will find it. Consider what can be found from your work life, your corporate websites, your LinkedIn profiles, who you work with, what kind of project have you done, things like these. The attackers will find them and they will use them. They will also find your connections, your family members, and they will try to pose as them. They will then put them together with so-called principles of persuasion, psychological triggers that exist in all human beings that are meant to bypass our psychological defenses and make us vulnerable against attacks. First principle is that of reciprocity, meaning that I give you something and you feel obliged to give me something in return. For example, if you go to a shop and you get free taste of bread, and then you get the feeling that you're obliged to buy the bread. Then we have the principle of commitment and consistency, meaning that when you start something, you're much more likely to follow through the whole process or the request. A good example about this from the cyber attack world is the attackers who use bad grammar. So the attackers are professional criminals who want to make money. So if you are going along with someone who is using bad grammar, you're also more likely to send them the money and they get to use their time efficiently. Then we have authority, which means that they might assume some kind of position of power towards you, be that someone you work for, your supervisor, or they might pose as an expert or police or doctor or someone who has knowledge about things that you might trust. Then we have the principle of social proof, which means that when many people are doing something, we are looking towards the behavior to adjust our own, kind of like a herd mentality, so to speak. Then we have the principle of liking, which means that when someone is nice towards us, we are much more likely to comply with their requests. Then there's the principle of unity, which is a sort of deeper sense of belonging to some group or community. You are part of some group that someone else is not. So that makes you feel special because you're together in some group. This is nowadays especially heightened in the social media's echo chambers and people going after political ideas and things like this. Then the final principle that is one of the most common used by, well, marketing people and the attackers both, is that of scarcity, which means that there is a limited amount of something and that makes you want it more. Be that a limited edition product, which are highly sought after, or the attacker may threaten you that you might lose something if you don't comply to their request. Very common example is that verify your email account or your account will be deleted or things like this. The attacker wants to bypass our defense mechanisms with these psychological triggers, and these requests are usually then supported by something that is familiar to you, that is based on the intelligence that they have done. So to wrap it up, if you recognize that someone is trying to exploit these techniques that I mentioned earlier, take a moment, re-evaluate the request that has been presented to you. It might come, or it might seem that it comes from a familiar party, your coworker or family member. But if there's anything off with it, just take a bit of a time out and re-evaluate the request, because it might be a criminal that is after you.